So you can have the block or the strap anywhere, but have the blocks. You're going to take one block if you have it, and you can place it either at the flattest level or the second level. You're going to place it kind of towards the top of your mat, but down a little bit. And then the other block will be above it, and either at the middle level or the highest level. So the top block is going to support your head, and this block is going to support your spine. So when you're ready, and again, if you don't have blocks, you can just lie on your back and do it. It works fine. You get a little bit more chest opener with the blocks, but either way is fine. So feet on the floor, knees bent. If you have the block, you want to adjust the block that is closest to your hips to where it's about in the mid spine. So maybe shoulder blade level. And you may come down and find that the middle level is too much. You can come back up and take it down to the lower level. And then go ahead and lie back so that your head is supported either at the middle level or the highest level, supporting your head. Walk your feet wider than hip distance and allow your knees to knock in. And if you're on the block or if you're just on the floor, go ahead and take your hands, heels of the hands on the sides of your rib cage, fingers kind of wrapping around to the front of your rib cage, kind of where that arch rounds down. And start by taking your chin towards your throat, so lengthening the back of your neck, which can be a little awkward on the blocks, but try the best that you can to bring the chin towards the throat. So instead of craning the front of your neck forward, find more length on the back of your neck. And your fingers are on the front of your rib cage. Just kind of use your fingers to draw the front of your rib cage down. If you're on the blocks, kind of down towards your hips. If you're on the floor, just moving the back of your rib cage closer to the floor. If you are on the floor, keep a slight low back curve. If you're on your blocks, that curve is there for you. Open across your collarbones. Relax your jaw. And just take a few moments to begin to find your breath. So we return to this week after week. We're looking for diaphragmatic breathing. So when you breathe in, you'll feel the rib cage expand out instead of forward. There will be some forward movement, but more of the expansion is out, the side ribs out into the heels of your hands. And as you exhale, feeling it slightly draw away. This helps to encourage diaphragmatic breathing. So as you inhale, the ribs are expanding out, which allows more space for the diaphragm to contract and move downward towards the belly. And as you exhale, the ribs move inward, the diaphragm relaxes and moves back up towards the lungs. This diaphragmatic breathing helps to create core support and spinal stability. We are going to be doing some spinal extension today and having this awareness of how to support your lower back so that you don't crank your lower back in extension is helpful. Walk your feet together. So the knees now are above the heels. Keeping your lower rib cage down and in. Bring your arms out to the side, T to the body, palms facing up. Notice if the ribs start to flare. And as you inhale, allow the ribs to extend out. And as you exhale, drawing the front of the rib cage down towards the hips. Notice if the chin starts to jut forward, drawing the chin again towards the throat. So keeping that awareness of the front of the body to keep length and stability on the back of the spine. And then bring the arms up beside your ears. So the biceps rotate in towards your ears. Thumbs point down towards the floor. Notice again, do the ribs start to flare open? Draw them down and in, tuck the chin. Your thumbs may or may not touch the floor. If you're at that medium level of the block, it's probably pretty unlikely that if you keep your ribs tucked, that the thumbs would reach down, but you are trying to find some expansion and the shoulders in flexion. So when the arms are beside your ears, it seems counterintuitive, but your shoulders are in flexion. So keep reaching the fingers towards the wall above your head. Keep drawing the front of the rib cage down and in. Keep the chin tucked. If your back is on the floor, keep a slight curve in your lower back. And then turn the palms to face up towards the sky, thumbs in towards each other. Keep the lower ribs down and in. And cactus your arms out to the side as if you were trying to take your elbows towards your ribs, and the backs of the forearms can stay towards the floor. So as close to the floor as you can. You'll feel the front of your chest open. Keep drawing the front of the rib cage down and in. And on your next inhalation, reach the arms back above your head, palms face in, thumbs point down. Palms point up. As you exhale, draw your elbows towards your hips. Chest stays open, feeling the shoulder blades draw down your back. As you inhale, reach the arms beside your ears, palms point in, thumbs point down. One more. Exhale, draw the elbows down and in. Notice what's happening to the front of the ribs, the neck, the chest. Inhale, straighten the arms beside your ears, palms face in. Bend your elbows, taking your hands towards the opposite elbow. And then grab the block that's under your head. If you don't have a block, if it's just your elbows, grab the elbows. Start to pull the block apart. So if you're pulling your elbows, pull your elbows apart. So you're pushing your elbows into your hands and pull apart. So stabilizing the shoulders. Keep the ribs down and in, chin tucked. Release arms beside the ears, cross the opposite elbow or forearm on top. Grab the block or your elbow and pull apart. Keep the ribs, front of the ribs down and in. Release. Bring the hands down beside your body. Turn your knees to either side and roll off the blocks. And remove the blocks so that they're down beyond your hips. So kind of get them out of the way. And come onto your back. Chin tucked, neck long, lower ribs in. Feet still on the floor. Bend your knees. Take a couple of breaths, just noticing how this has created a little bit more space in the front of the chest and your spine. Then press your feet into the floor. Lift your hips off the floor and move them 1.5 inches to the right. Keep your right knee bent, straighten your left leg to the ground. Bend your right knee towards your left shoulder, reach across with your left hand and grab the outside of your right knee. And then twist all the way to the left. If your knee can rest on the floor, great. If not, you can use your block or you can just let it go as close to the floor as you can. So left hand stays on the outside of your knee. Your right shoulder is going to come off the floor. Let that happen. Turn the back of your hand so it's on the floor, so palm is up. We're just going to start to create some movement in our shoulder. So freeing our shoulders. The shoulders are made for mobility. So you're going to drag the back of your hand, fingernails across the floor as you bring your arm up beside your ear. So you can think snow angels I know that the East is getting a lot of snow right now. I've seen pictures of Anne. It looks like London is getting some snow. Colorado could use some. So just make snow angels with your right arm, taking the hand down beside your hip. The arm is off the floor, so just the fingertips graze the floor. And just notice what you're feeling in your shoulder blade. And when you feel kind of those areas that are a little crunchy, just go a little slower and see if you can create a little bit more ease. Oftentimes, we're encouraged to stabilize our shoulders down our back and towards our spine all the time. So stabilization is not what the shoulders are built for. They're actually built for mobility. Next time you bring your arm beside your ear, turn the palm down and continue that circle, taking now the fingertips to the floor all the way towards your right knee in front of you. And then bring it back around. Let it flip back over, fingernails graze as you bring it to the back of your hip. Let the head kind of follow in a natural way as you make a couple of rounds in that movement. And then the next time you come up and around in front of you, just continue the circle, allowing your hand to graze over the side of your thigh, drop over your hip, come back to the floor, make one more circle in that direction. Going slow enough that you can avoid any discomfort, and then switch directions. So bring it down across the back of your hip around, and then as you come around, let the fingertips flip over. One more circle in this direction. And as you make these circles, just start to notice if you're creating a little bit more mobility in the shoulder. Bring your hand down beside your right hip. Let go of your right knee, come back to center. Center your hips, bending both knees, and just pause for a moment to feel the difference between your right and your left shoulder. If you're like me, I just feel a lot lighter, almost fuller in that right shoulder. So creating some ease, some movement. And press your feet down, lift your hips and move them about 1.5 inches to the left. Straighten your right leg down to the ground. Bend your left knee towards your right shoulder, reach across, grab the outside of your left knee with your right hand, and then twist as far as you can to the right. If the knee comes to the floor, great. If not, you can use a block or you can just let it hover, but the left shoulder will come off the floor. Starting with your left hand down beside your hip, turn the back of the hand towards the floor, palm facing up, and then start to do those snow angels on the left side. And fingernails brush across the floor. The rest of the arm is off the floor. So just noticing. Typically, I feel one side moves a little bit easier. And this left shoulder is definitely my shoulder that does not want to move. So the hand stays in contact with the floor as you continue to create those snow angels. And then the next time you come up, at the top, flip the hand over. So now the fingertips brush the floor as you bring it around and in front of you, taking your hand towards your left knee. And then bring it back over, flip the hand, fingernails brush as you take it towards your hip. So just moving kind of at a speed that feels good for you. Going slow enough that you're not forcing through anything, but going slow enough to see that if you go slow, can you move through those kind of crunchy spaces without too much crunch? Some crunch will be normal just because, again, if we're always stabilizing the shoulders, we create kind of some tension, but it should be comfortable. The next time you come around and through, continue your circle, taking it up and around your hip, taking it behind the floor, flipping the hand, and going one more time through. And then once you take the hand behind you, switch directions, bringing it over your hip. Fingertips, and then switch to fingernails. Let the head kind of follow in a natural flow. Maybe the head lifts off the floor, Maybe it stays down. Once you bring your hand to your hips, let go of your left knee, roll back onto your back, center the hips, and just pause, noticing what you feel. Hopefully you feel a little fuller, a little lighter in the shoulders. And then roll over to either side and press yourself. So if you do have blocks at this time, go ahead and take your blocks to the front of your mat and then bring your belt if you have a belt. If you don't have a belt, you can do this without the belt, or you can use like a real belt. So coming up onto your knees, toes point back, sitting back on your hips. Now take your belt out in front of you. Your hands are going to be wider than your shoulders. Straight out, kind of shoulder height. And notice your tendency to flare your ribs forward here and draw them in. Chin is tucked, neck is long. So start to pull the belt taut. And as you inhale, lift up onto your knees and bring the arms over your head. I'm going to adjust the belt or the camera. Start to pull the belt taut. You will feel your outer shoulder blades lift, and that's great. Like that's what our shoulders are supposed to do. And then sit back, bring the belt down to your knees. Keep pulling the belt tight. Inhale, come up onto your knees. Allow the outer armpits to lift. Lower ribs stay down and in. And then bring your hips back to your heels. Press down through the fronts of your feet. Lift up, pull the belt taut. You may have to walk your hands wider. We're going to go all the way back. So now bringing the belt behind your back and touch your hips if you can. Widen your hands on your belt if you need to. Inhale, arms wrap back up. Try to keep your elbows as straight as possible, and then lower your hips. Inhale, lift up onto your hips. Keep pulling the belt. Allow the belt to go behind. Touch your hips. Keep pulling the belt. Lift it back up. And as you come forward, drop your hips towards your heels. Notice each time we go through this, you might find that this gets a little easier. Less crunch. Lift up. Keep the lower ribs down and in. So this is where we really start to notice. Are we getting shoulder flexion, or are we actually splaying the ribs to get that movement? Lift up and over. Sit the hips back. Bring the arms over your head. Bend your left elbow. Keep your right elbow straight. Then you're going to lean all the way to the right. You're going to use your right hand to position the belt to the floor. Then bring your feet over to the left. So your left heel comes towards your left hip. Your right foot's resting on your left knee. Loosen up on your belt slightly. So bring the left hand up a little bit. Keep pressing down through your right hand. And then slowly start to twist head and chest up towards the left as you move towards straightening your left arm. It may not straighten completely, that's fine. Bend your left elbow as you twist back to where you began. Then press down through the right hand, start to straighten your left arm as you twist your head and chest open to the left. Again, bend the left arm, turn back to center. One more time. Turn the head and chest up towards the sky. Really try to straighten your left arm. You'll feel your left shoulder blade glide down your back. Breathe into the side of your rib cage. Bend the left arm, come back to center. Bring both arms over the head. Maybe the hands come down, maybe the hands stay up. Lift up. Turn your right foot back. Bring the knees together and then sit back. Bend your right arm. Bring the hand behind your head. Left arm straight. Tilt bringing your hand to support the belt, and then drop your hips to the left as you move your legs over to the right. Keep your hand pressing down into the floor, supporting the belt. Then twist as you straighten your right arm back, turn head and chest towards the sky. Bend the elbow between the head as you turn your chest forward. Start to punch your fist as you straighten your right arm, twist head, chest open to the right. And then twist forward. Notice if there's a difference, like there's a distinct difference for me. Twist as you straighten, pause here. Really move towards straightening your right arm. Shoulder blades gliding down your back. And then twist. Straighten both arms over your head. Either hands come to the floor in front or try to lift up. Bring the left foot back, bring your knees together, and then lower your hips to the ground. Take the belt and take it to the front of your mat, so it's there when we need it later. And then just let your shoulders roll. So as you roll your shoulders, bring awareness to the shoulder blades kind of gliding on your rib cage. So this is where we want to really create more mobility. When we have more mobility, they're able to relax a little bit better. We don't have to force them down our backs away from our shoulders. They should more or less relax down our shoulders. Good. So now if you have blocks, grab your blocks. If not, this is fine to do without blocks. You can just do hands on the floor. But if you have your blocks, bring the hands onto the blocks, kind of gripping the sides of your blocks with your pinky and your thumb. If not, just floor is fine. So this is going to teach us how to stabilize our shoulders. We have a lot of muscles around the shoulder blades. We don't really think of the shoulder blades as a joint, but they are. So press down into the blocks. And then as if you're using the thumbs, and you are, twist your blocks apart. And if you're on the floor, just twist your hands apart on the floor. And then use your pinky fingers to twist it back in. And as you do this, just start to notice what you're feeling in the shoulder blades. You can feel all these muscles that control the movement of the shoulder blades kind of kick in neurologically and start to work. Good. Keep your left hand on your block. Move your right hand off your block, off the mat, and bring the right hand down to the floor. If you're not on the block, just keep both hands on the floor. So start to isometrically twist. So this time the block's not moving, but as if you are twisting, start to, as if you're taking that thumb to twist it open. Feel that stabilize the shoulder, and then lift your right hand off the floor. Bring the right arm beside your ear, thumb pointing up. Keep twisting the thumb side of your hand towards the fingers. Take the right arm out to the side, thumb still pointing up. And then switching your awareness to your right arm. Thumb points down. Thumb points up. Thumb points down. Thumb points up. Bring the hand behind your head. Press the back of your head into your hand. So chin is towards your throat. You're still twisting your block with your left hand. And then rotate your right shoulder up towards the sky. Twist, bringing your right elbow to touch your left forearm. Press down into your left block, twist, and lift right elbow up. Keep twisting, left hand, touch, right elbow to left hand. You should feel something interesting going on in your left shoulder as it works to stabilize. Release down. Bring your right hand to the floor. Keep your tuck your toes under. Right hand is on the floor, left hand is on the block. If not, both hands are on the floor. You got to press back to downward facing dog. It's weird. So right hand's on the floor, left hand's on the block. Shift your weight to your left foot. Reach your right leg up and back into three-legged dog. Come onto your right fingertips. Look between your hands and step your right foot up between your hands. So it helps a little to have that left hand on the block. Bend your left knee to the floor. Toes point back. Take your right hand to your knee and push the knee forward as you deepen your right hip crease. Take your block or your hand out in front of you, like you're passing the block to the person in front of you. Keep pushing the right knee forward. Right hip hugs in. As you shift the hips back, bring the block beside your ear. Fingers point back. Shift forward, take the block out in front of you again. So as you're passing it before someone. Shift back, bring the arm up beside your ear. Block has to, or fingers have to point back so you can continue to hold that block. Push up. Shift forward, pass the block in front of you, palm up. One more time, lift up. Take your right hand beside your hip, and this time lean to the right, pushing the block up as you push it over to the right as well. Good. Shift forward, block comes out in front. Take your left hand, grab the block with the left hand. Both arms come over the head. This time, keep it in your right hand and take the block behind you. So right hand now holds it, both palms up. Left hand comes to the floor inside of your right foot. You're probably going to have to use your hip so that you can actually grab the block and hold it. Kick your left heel to your hip. Take the block and push the heel into your block. So we're engaging the hamstrings this way. Twist your belly towards your right thigh and look back towards your foot if you can. If you don't have a block, just keep trying to kick your heel towards your hip. You'll feel your hamstring, which is the purpose of this. Then release, block to the floor in front of your mat. Reach behind, point your toe. If you can, grab your foot. If you can't, you have your belt. You can use it. So getting a little bit of a quad stretch. And if you can't, you can just keep kicking your heel because that's the hamstring, and that's great. Release the foot. Bring your left knee, or your right knee beside your left knee. Sit back, forehead towards the floor. Stretch out your shoulders. So you're gonna let go of some of that tension. Shift forward to hands and knees. Take a block, place it this time under your right hand. Start to twist into the block. So like your thumb is trying to twist that block. Feel the shoulder blade kind of lock into place. Lift left hand so it's even with right hand. Bring left arm beside your ear, thumb points up. Keep twisting, stabilizing right shoulder. Bring left hand out to the side. Thumb points up, thumb points down. Thumb points up, thumb points down. So now we're rotating both shoulder blade and arm bone. Next time the thumb comes up, bring the hand behind the head. Press the back of your head into your hand, chin towards throat. Keep twisting right hand into the block. Inhale, lift elbow up towards the sky, gaze up, and then twist, forearm touches. Inhale, twist open. Exhale, twist, closed. One more time, twist open, twist closed. Bring the arm beside the ear, Bring left hand to the floor, right hand stays on the block or the floor. Tuck the toes under and press back into downward facing dog. So it feels a little different. Keep twisting thumb into the block like you're trying to twist the block open. Shift weight to the right foot, lift left leg up and back. Come up onto your left fingertips. Gaze between your hands and bring left foot up between your hands. Right knee to the ground. Toes point back. Lift, block out in front. Left hand comes to the knee, push the knee forward, lift up. So like you're passing the block to someone in front of you, palms up. Shift up, arm comes beside the ear, fingers point back. Shift forward, pass it in front. Shift up, turn the fingers back. Shift forward, pass it in front. Shift up, stay up. Take your left hand beside your hip, push the block up, and then side bend to the left, as if you're pushing the block up and over to the left. Come up, bring the block forward, take both hands onto your block, switching it into your left hand. Arms come over the head, and as you twist to the left, block stays in the left hand, right hand reaches forward. Tilt, bringing right hand inside of left foot. Use your block or your hip to kind of grab your block so you're actually holding your block. Sink a little deeper into your front hip crease and then bend your right knee, kicking your heel into your block as you push the block into your heel. So feel a little something going on in your hamstring. Twist your belly towards your left thigh. Gaze up, so you're in a twist with chest up towards the sky. Keep pushing. And release the block towards the front of your mat. Reach left hand back, grab the front of the left foot if you can, or right foot. And now pull heel towards hip. So lengthening the front of your quad, the hip flexors. Release the back of your foot. Bring your left knee beside your right knee. Press your hands into the floor. Now without the blocks there, can you create that same sensation of thumbs twisting towards your fingers? Lower all the way down onto your belly, forehead to the floor. Reach in front, grab both of your blocks. Take your blocks back beside your hips. Press your palms into the blocks and use that to lift your shoulders so that they're block height. Or hands are on the floor, just press down into the floor. Keep pressing hands into the blocks as you lift your head and chest. Then lift the hands off the blocks. Thumbs point up, palms out. Release forehead to the floor, hands to the blocks. Take the blocks as you bring your hands out to the side, T to the body. Press your hands into the blocks, roll your shoulders down your back, and then take the pinky edges of your hands, thumbs point up, pinky edges of your hands press down. Find the stability in your shoulders, keep that. Lift your hands off the blocks and then lift head, chest. So arms reach out to the sides. Keep your head lifted, bring the arms beside your ears, thumbs up. And then release elbows to the floor underneath your shoulders. So you're in a Sphinx pose. Press your hands down, twist your thumbs out, squeeze your elbows in. Feel your belly lift off the floor. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips off the floor. Kick your heels towards your hips. So hands press down, twist out, elbows squeeze in. Shift your weight onto your right elbow and then shift onto your right elbow. So you're on your knees, hips are off the floor. Press, right hand down, twist thumb out. Shoulder blade is stabilizing down your back, straighten your top leg. So left knee stays on the ground, reach, or right knee stays on the ground. Reach, left hand up, bring the arm beside your ear. Lift, left foot off the ground, take it back, and then rotate your head and chest up towards the sky. So this is a modified wild thing, the regression. Step, left foot forward, bring both knees to the ground, come back into knee elbow plank. Press hands down, twist out, elbow squeeze in. Shift onto your left hip. Knees are stacked. Press left hand down, twisting thumb out. Elbows pushing in. Straighten, right leg towards the floor. Reach, right hand up, arm to ear. Lift, right leg off the floor. If you can, bring it back. Toe to the ground, rotate head, chest, open towards the sky. Keep pressing hand down, twisting out. Step leg back, knees together. Come onto your elbows, drop the hips. Hands underneath your shoulders, press up, hands and knees, and sit back. So we are going between stabilizing and mobilizing. So giving ourselves a little break. You can either sit in a cross-legged position, or if it's comfortable, sit back on your heels. Take your right hand beside your body. Rotate the thumb out and take it as far back as you can. So really working that external rotation in your shoulder. Bring the right arm beside your ear. Notice the tendency to flare open and bring that rib down and in. Drop the hand between your shoulder blades. Reach your left hand across, and as if you're trying to pull the bicep towards your ear. So rotating the arm in the socket. So the biceps almost touching your ear. Keep that, and then bring your left hand to your elbow. Side bend. Gaze under your right arm. You can use your hand to kind of continue to twist your elbow towards your head or your bicep towards your ear. Notice the tendency to flare your ribs, bring it in. So we want flexion to happen in the shoulder socket, not by extending your spine. Release, come back to center. So first, finding external rotation, turn the thumb out. Keep turning it as far back towards the wall behind you as you can. Keep the lower left rib down, bring the arm beside the ear. This time with the arm straight, grab and rotate the bicep towards your ear. So this might turn the palm to face the wall behind you. That's the rotation we're looking for. Then drop the hand between your shoulder blades. Keep rotating arm towards your ear. Switch it to your elbow. Keep rotating bicep towards your ear as you side bend to the right. Head turns and looks up to the left. Breathing into the left side body. So all of this stuff down here, they're all shoulder muscles. We want to open those up. Come back up, release, roll the shoulders. Just kind of notice what kind of work you're doing. Good. And come back to hands and knees. You want to have your belt at the front of your mat where you can grab it. So stretch it long in front of your mat. Hands to the floor. Before you go back into downward facing dog, press the hands down, twist as if you're like screwing the mat apart. Feel that stabilize in the shoulder socket, shoulder scapula, the shoulder blades, and then tuck your toes under and press up and back into downward facing dog. Can you continue to find that in downward facing dog? Shift the weight onto your left foot, reach your right leg up and back. Keep twisting, pushing hands down, twisting out. Bend your right knee, kick your heel towards your left hip, reach the knee up towards the sky. Keep twisting, thumbs towards fingers. Feel how strong that creates shoulder stability. Square your hips, straighten your right leg back. Come onto your right fingertips, gaze between your thumbs. Bend your right knee towards your chest as you step your right foot up between your hands. Make sure knee is directly above your ankle joint. So if you need to take the back knee down and step that right foot forward more, do so. And then rotate your left heel down and in. So your right heel is going to be slightly wider than your back left heel. So if you were to draw a line, it would be behind your heel. Reach in front of you, grab your belt. So like we did at the beginning, hands are wider than your shoulders. Lift up halfway, arms beside your ears, and then lift all the way up. So pull your belt taut. Inhale, straighten your legs. And as you exhale, bring the belt behind your head as you bend your right knee. So like we did at the beginning, elbows are coming towards hips. Inhale, straighten, arms go over your head. Exhale, bend the knee, bend the elbows. Notice your tendency to flare your ribs, draw it in. Inhale, straighten both. Exhale, bend both. Keep the elbows behind your back. And if you can, just straighten the arms, bringing the belt behind your hip. Step onto your right foot, left foot comes forward. You might have to widen up on your belt, balancing on your right foot. Bend your left knee and wrap your belt around the front of your foot. Turn your elbows forward as you bring your hands on your shoulders and belt still grabbing. Start to bring the elbows up beside your ears like we just did on the floor. Pull your belt, kick your foot into your belt, and fold forward as you can. Shift back up. Hands come to your shoulders. Kick the foot out of your belt. Lower the foot to the ground. Lower the belt behind your back. Inhale, arms come over your head. As you exhale, belt goes towards your hips as you fold forward. And then arms come over your head, belt towards the floor. Release the belt to the floor. Hands come on either side of your feet. Bend the knees, head, chest, reach forward. Hands to the floor, step to the back of your mat. Plank pose. Either bending knees to the floor or reach elbows towards your hips, lower down, chaturanga. Belly to the floor, head to the floor, toes point back. Grab your belt and stretch your arms long. Lower ribs in, hips pressed into the floor. Lift your legs off the floor. Lift your hands off the floor. Lift your head and your chest off the floor. Bend your elbows, reach them back towards your ribs as you take the belt behind your head or not. Stretch it forward. Release your head to the floor, belt to the floor. Hands come to the floor, underneath your shoulders. Press up to hands and knees. So we're going into plank. You can go into knee plank and do what we did the last time, or toes come to the floor, knees off the floor. Press your hands down, twist out, so feel the stability in your shoulders. Either knees bent to the floor or rotate open, side plank. Top foot will be in front of your bottom foot. Reach, top arm up. Arm beside your ear. Lift top leg up. Step it behind, bend the knee. Foot to the floor. You can do what we did the last time. Press head, chest up. Twist. Thumb on the ground, out as you reach. Hand, top hand up and back. Okay. Look down at your hand. Come back to knee plank or plank. and press back, downward facing dog. Slow down your breath. Keep pressing, hands down, twisting, thumbs out. Shift weight to your right foot. Lift, left leg up and back. Keep twisting thumbs out as you bend left knee, kicking left heel towards right hip. Reach, left knee up. Keep twisting hands up. Square, straighten your leg. Come up onto your left fingertips, look between your hands, and bring left foot up between your hands. Walk your left foot out slightly as you drop right heel down and in. Grab your belt. Bring the arms beside the ears. Pull your belt taut and then lift up. Straighten left leg. As you exhale, bend your left knee, bend your elbows, bringing the elbows beside your ribs, belt behind your back, ribs stay in. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend both, ribs stay in. Straighten. One more time, bend. Stay bent. Come onto your right toes. Step, right foot up beside left. You can balance. Bring arms down. Belt towards hips. Loosen up on the belt, kick. Right foot, so it's held by your strap. Keep loosening up on your straps to bring hands to your shoulders, elbows point forward. Start to push foot into belt as you bring biceps out beside your ears, elbows point up, and then tilt forward as you can. Come up, release your foot. Tighten up on your belt a little bit. Bring the arms over your head. Fold forward as you do, drop the arms back again. But then allow arms to fold towards head as you rotate. Forward fold. Release the belt. Bend the knees. Hands to the floor. Step back into plank. Press hands down, twist out. Feel it stabilize the shoulders, either knees to the floor or roll all the way down, chaturanga. Forehead to the floor. Reach the arms beside the ears as you grab the belt, pull taut. Wrapping outer armpits towards the floor. Lift the legs, press the pubic bone down. Lower belly off the floor, lift the belt. Arms up, head, chest up. Bend the elbows towards your ribs, lift your head and chest. Straighten. Hands come underneath your shoulders, either pressing up to tabletop or pressing up to plank. Knees can be on the floor and do what we did the last time. Twist hands down, twist out, shift to the side that you didn't the last time because I didn't tell you. You can either be in that plank with front foot in front or on your knees. Lift top arm up, palm faces towards the ear, and then bring the arm to the ear. Lift top foot and step it behind you, toe to the ground. Rotate head, chest open as you twist. Palm on the floor, open. Turn the head towards the floor. Rotate back to plank or knee plank. Sit the hips or the knees down and press back into child's pose. Bring your arms beside your feet or beside your legs. Hands towards your feet. Let your shoulders completely go. So slowing down your breath. letting everything go between your shoulder blades. So we've worked on mobilizing, we've worked on stabilizing. You can probably feel that twisting of the hands out works the entire arm and really works to activate those muscles that help to move the shoulder blades more effectively, more efficiently. And the more the muscles around the shoulder blades work in a more proper way, the more movement, the more release we have in the neck, the shoulders, the mid-back. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, press up. Sit back on your heels. Are your arms shaking? Mine are a little shaky. Stretch, right arm across. Take your left elbow and bring it to support your right arm. So feeling that stretch between your shoulder blades. Release. Cross, left arm in front. Pull. Hopefully you notice with all that engagement that you can actually feel like a little release between your shoulder blades, which is often where people feel tension and tightness. And so many times it's because those muscles are actually on a stretch already. Really. Bring your right arm out in front, cross your left arm underneath. If you can, wrap so that you bring your fingertips, your left fingertips into your right palm. If not, you can just press the backs of your hands together. Lift your elbows shoulder height and then slightly pull your elbows forward. You're squeezing your elbows together, you're pushing your fingers into your palm. And if it's not comfortable to sit on your heels, you can just sit back in like a regular cross-legged position. Release. And then switch. Wrapping right arm underneath your left elbow, bringing your right fingertips into the palm of the hands or just pressing the backs of the hands together. Lift elbows, shoulder height, stretch it forward. Release. Okay, so all of this prep work has been for a specific pose. And it's a pose that you can try, or it's a pose that you can completely skip. So we're going to start in bridge pose. And I'm going to show you this first so that you can see what you have the potential to do. Oftentimes wheel pose, which is, that full back bend, the reason people can't access it is because they don't have shoulder flexion, right? Instead, they do this. I have really hypermobile shoulders. So if you're looking at my shoulders and going, wow, I could never do that, you're okay. Like having hypermobile shoulders is not awesome. But bridge pose is the first option. So this is bridge pose. From here, if you want the option, you can take the hands beside your ears. Elbows point up. If your elbows go out like this, don't do it. If elbows point up, you can come under your head. Elbows still back and press up. And I'll talk you through it a little bit more. Otherwise, hang out in bridge or supported bridge. So if you want supported bridge, have a block close by. Heels are in line with your sit bones. Hands beside your hips. Should feel a lot of opening in the front of your chest. We've done a lot of that. Lower ribs in, keep the lower back off the floor. So tone the front of your core. Fill the sides of your rib cage and then press down through your feet to lift your hips. You can take the block and position it at any of the three heights that are available for you and hang out there. Or Keep your shoulder blades on the floor. Take your hands and place them beside your ears. Thumbs pointing down towards your shoulders, so fingers out slightly, elbows pointing straight up. Draw the chin towards your throat, regardless of if you're in bridge or if you're going into wheel. Lift the hips a little higher. Press down into your hands, come onto your head. Elbows still point back. If they splay out, stop here. If they still point back, press down as you push your chest towards the wall that you're looking at. Breathe. Wherever you are, lower down. So if the block is underneath your hips, remove the block. Lower the hips. Arms out to the side, T to the body. Walk your feet wide. Take a few breaths here and just notice what you feel. And keeping your feet wide, so feet stay where they are. Press down, shift your hips slightly to the left, and then let both of your knees fall to the right. The knees may not reach the floor, that's fine. Take your right foot and stack it on the outside of your left knee. So you'll feel this stretch in your lower hip and the front of your hip. So your lower waist side, front of your left hip. Allow your head to fall to the left. Release right foot off of left knee. Bring both feet to the ground, feet mat distance apart. Shift your hips to the right. Drop both knees to your left. Take your left foot, place the outer edge of your left foot on the outside of your right knee, and let your head fall to the right. Feel the side of your right waist lengthen. The front of your right hip open. Release left foot off of right knee, both feet to the ground. Center the hips. Hug your knees towards your chest and rock a little side to side. We did a lot of extension and not a lot of flexion. So depending on how you feel, you can lift your head towards your knees and kind of get that little tight ball feeling as you flex your spine. If that does not feel good on your neck, just keep your head on the floor. And when you are ready, let everything go, extending legs long to the ground. Arms down beside your body, palms facing up. And start to bring your awareness back to your breath. So some things that you might notice with the work that we did. You may feel that the shoulder blades are able to rest more flatly on the floor. You may feel a natural opening along the front of your chest. You may feel that the ribs have a more natural tendency to relax down and in. You may feel that you can breathe with more ease into the side ribs. So all of these muscles of the shoulders also attach to the spine. Not all of them, but most of them. And a lot of times when we have mid back pain or neck and shoulder pain, it may be due to the lack of mobility in your shoulders. So you may feel a little lightness in these spaces. You feel that the chin can rest more naturally towards the throat. And whenever you're ready, reach your arms over your head, stretch long. So reaching through heels or toes, stretching arms. Notice if the ribs flare. Just notice. If they do, fine. If not, better. And bend your knees and roll onto your side body. Letting the head remain heavy, the eyes closed. Use your hands to press yourself up to seated position. And bring your hands to rest on your knees and just notice your shoulders. So without trying to put them in a certain place, just notice how they rest naturally after all that attention, after stabilizing, mobilizing. Just notice how they rest naturally. And slowly bring your hands to heart center, feeling as your hands connect yourself, feet soft. And exhale, bow your head towards your heart. And thank you so much for this time that you've made for yourself, this time to be present with this virtual community with me. I really appreciate you all. And the divine in me honors the divine in you. Namaste.